Okay, we're live. Welcome back to today's coding session. Let's jump right in. This is where we left off yesterday. I actually went in and cleaned up a bunch of stuff after the stream. Maybe I should have done it live. There was definitely a lot to learn there, but I'll go over what's different and what I did last night before, outside of the stream. And just to recap here, we're working on this project here for CS50 using Django and React. And I didn't know, but apparently CS50 is becoming well known for Django. And so I will make a video about that soon. But basically, there's a lot of companies now that apparently are trying to find Django developers, and what they're finding is actually a lot of CS50 Django developers. A little bit more entry level than what they want to hire. But that perhaps might go to show that there's actually a lot of opportunity out there for Django, for this specific tech stack. So Django with React. So let's go right here and then jump in. I'm going to source into here and then activate my server. And you'll see here what I've built so far. It's a couple of things. So this one big project has actually multiple apps inside of it. So one of them is this feature app. I can just, as a user, request a new feature from the developer and submit here, and also upvote other people's suggestions. And then I've also managed, so I cleaned most of this up last night, and you'll see how nice it looks now. So I made it very clear that this is a tutorials on support page. I try to make it very clear that, you have to click up here to switch between the tutorial categories. You'll see this stuff is loading pretty fast now. And I also cleaned up how people can reach out. So yes, I do want people to reach out to us. I want to make it very clear how they should reach out to us. But I also want to make it very clear that I don't want them to reach out to us. I want them to help themselves first with the tutorials. And if not, I cleaned up. I only left one button basically, and it's a button that looks like, it's a little bit, I mean, it's clearly there, but at the same time, the language does, this button is hopefully saying, don't click here. Like, only click here if you really need to. And then I also did this link over here, and also at the bottom, I took out the button and just left it as simple text. So it's very clear where they need to go if they need help. And hopefully it's also very clear, don't go there for help if it's for something simple, like just something you can figure out from watching the tutorial. Afterwards, if you click on request support, right now it's very broken because I tried implementing this and whatever. That's what we're going to be working on today. There's a lot to unpack here. So let's just jump right into it. And again, over here it's supposed to be just a simple form for people to submit. I might have like a sketch of it over here. So it'll look something like this. So it's just a page which has one form, and over there people can submit their email and their name and whatnot, and upload a screenshot, describe the problem, and then submit that to the developer, to me. And then if they have any active tickets, they will see this open service tickets table here with all of their open tickets and the status. And me as the developer, I should get a data dashboard here, which will show me all of the open tickets from all the users, and then I can work on them and mark them as complete here, or I can just email or contact the user directly from here. So that's the goal. To do this, the first step would be to declare a new route, a new URL for this contact page, which I already did that. You'll see here is the support/contact. That's already been declared. I already have a template there, an HTML template. So that's all good. Afterwards, I would say, you need a new database, new database models to keep track of things. The first one is this media upload model. And in here, I'm just declaring this so the user would have the option to upload a screenshot, and I want to be able to save that screenshot in the database. However, I'm not going to be saving it. I'm not going to be saving the actual file in my Django project, like in my Django folder. I'm not going to have a subfolder in there called user files and just let those files sit there. Why? Because they could upload something. That's not like the safest thing to do. The safest thing to do is just to upload that photo to a service, and then in my database, all I'm going to save is that file URL. So as an example, let's say that a user uploads their image. I want to store that, just to throw out something simple, I want to store that on Google Drive. And in my database, all I want to have is that file, that URL to that file on that Google Drive. I don't actually want to have the file in my actual server. This is the best I could come up with so far for this media upload model. I will be using this for all of the media uploads, not just for this help, for this request support part of the project, but I will actually use this media upload for my automations, also for my settings, and for my other dashboard, for the main functionality of the app. So because of that, I declare this media upload model in what I call the teleport app. So the teleport app will actually be the actual service that we provide to our users, right? So far we have been developing everything else, our feedback and our help and our interface, and okay, but the actual functionality, the actual logic for connecting multiple APIs and allowing users to connect different apps together, that is actually happening through this teleport app. And media upload is something that is not just relevant to one app, is what I'm trying to say. It's relevant to the entire project. So that way I'm keeping it in this teleport app. I did import my teleport user here. And again, my teleport user is just inheriting from the regular Django user model. And the only thing that I'm adding to it at the moment, maybe in the future I will add more, but at the moment, all I'm adding is a user profile picture. And so throughout the project, I have been importing the user as teleport user, even though really it's the main user model plus one additional field. But here I did have to import that. And then what I'm doing is that for my media upload, when a user uploads something to my app, I will make a new object here, media upload object on the database. See, in Django, we're thinking of objects as the database, but in reality, Django is converting everything. When you run it, it's converting everything to SQL. So this is comparable to having a media upload table in your SQL database, and then you just add rows to that, very similar to a spreadsheet. So here, right, so for every row that I'm going to add, any new row to that database, I'm going to have an owner, which is actually importing that teleport user. So this will give me the user object, whichever user submitted that file to my server. I have to get that user from the database as an object, and then pass that object to this field here, owner, in the media upload class. And then the rest is just very similar. It's just I will write logic in my server and using Python Django in my view here, and just fill in the source. The source, I'm probably just gonna say this came in from the support page. If it's a media upload that comes from like the automations page, then I will say the source is from the automations, whatever. The name will just be the name for now that the person imports to that form. So my form, I will have name and email, even though obviously I already have their name, obviously I already have their email. If they're logged in, I already have that information. But if for any reason it doesn't match, like if for any reason they want me to contact someone else, or maybe it's I don't know, maybe let's say that it's like a school, right? And maybe it's one of the students that's uploading the ticket, but in reality they want me to contact the teacher, or I don't know, it's a small office and it's just they want me to be in touch with a specific person there. So that's why I would have this name, email, phone number, even though these might be different from the information I already have on the database for the user who is currently logged in. And for that reason, I put this blank true over here. So this blank true, what it means is that this field is optional. So the reason I did that is because for my help, right, for that form that you saw, the users, I do have a field asking them to fill in a name, but But for other things like the automations, whenever they upload a file like a photo, I don't necessarily need to keep track of their name or a description, right? I'm not necessarily gonna have those. So those are optional, depending if they need to be used. File URL is self-explanatory. I'm just gonna be uploading. In this case, I still haven't figured out exactly how to do it, but I will be using Cloudflare for this. And if you guys are familiar with Cloudflare, it's a service, Cloudflare. So it's a service which allows you to host. It actually is a service that allows you to do multiple things. I honestly don't know all the things that it lets you do, but I've used it before for my WordPress websites to make them quicker. And the reason why I can do that is because Cloudflare has servers all over the world. They cache your website on one of their servers. Let's say that they have a server in France. Whenever you sign up for the service and you connect it to your website, they're going to cache your website and distribute that throughout all their servers. Whenever someone from France request your website, they're not actually necessarily loading all the data from your server. Instead, they're going to be loading most of the data from their local Cloudflare server. And if there's anything missing, or if I changed anything, if there's any if the version on their server is older than the newest version I have on my server, I don't know if maybe I should have made a diagram for this. And guys, I'm hoping to try and get maybe like a small little tablet or something that I could write out, like I could physically write and then display it on the screen here. Let me know if this is something you want to see. I feel like there's other streamers that I follow, like the Primetime, for example. He does this stuff, where he's drawing out things. But just bear with me for a sec. Maybe I'll do it in here, right? Maybe I'll do it quickly in here. Hold on. I do have FigJam here. New FigJam board. Let's see. I do have a new FigJam board up here. So again, you have your user here, right? User. And let's say that I have my server here, right? And let's draw a little line between these, right? And really, modern web design, I guess it looks like this, right? And this is for anything, right? I'm just using a WordPress website as an example. It's an easy example that hopefully most of you will. I'm assuming most people watching my stuff here on YouTube has some level of familiarity with WordPress. Why? Because WordPress, even for me, is where I started before I got into computer science. It's an easy way to get started in anything having to do with computer science. And then once you get tired of it, I guess you want to graduate to actually coding. That's sort of how it was for me. In my case, I lasted over 10 years on WordPress. I was actually designing my own websites on WordPress to market my business. And I was working as a freelance video producer. I was producing all kinds of things, commercials, TV shows, that sort of thing. And people would ask me, my customers would ask me, hey, you have a really nice website, like who made it for you? And I would say, I make websites also. And then that's how I also managed to get a lot of customers as a just as a WordPress developer, even though I wasn't doing any coding at the time. Fine. So the point being here that you have a user, right? And he's requesting your WordPress website. And then that website, the request loads and then it comes back to the user. By the way, this is the same way Django works, right? Now, what happens when you have something like Cloudflare is you put that in the middle, right? You would put this in the middle. And then let's say that this user is in France. And I'm going to make this a little bit extreme, right? And my server is in Australia. Okay? Now, this Cloudflare is actually, again, they have servers everywhere. They have servers all over the world. And so whenever the user in France is requesting my website, instead of going all the way to Australia, it's just going to load the local copy, which is sitting in France. And so this local copy will speed up how fast your website loads. This will make your user experience a lot better. Now, what happens if I update my files in here. So Cloudflare will load, let's say, most of the files, and then Cloudflare will request an update from my server, and then update any files which were updated in here. Similar to like how Git works, I guess. I'm not really sure how they do it, but it's probably similar to Git. And then they'll save that here. So this will only happen, or maybe once in a while they go on my server. I'm not really sure, but it does get updated once in a while. The point being that this is a couple of advantages. Number one, this is going to be very fast for the user because he's loading data locally, and it's very, very quick. It's going to help with site reliability because if my server falls down, at least Cloudflare will still load some of it, I think. And this helps also with bandwidth. Like, instead of me having to serve every single user, I only serve some of my users because I have another copy which Cloudflare is providing for them. Now, this is what it's called, a CDN, Content Delivery Network. I'll write that here. Say CDN, right? And this CDN is one of many, many services that Cloudflare offers. Another thing that they could offer is, and you've probably seen this, if yeah, there's other services. Cloudflare also does something called, I don't know what it's called right now, but it's something having to do with cybersecurity. They'll also do something like this. If my user requests my server, Cloudflare has an algorithm which will randomly, based on whatever parameter, if they think this user deserves to be checked, they're going to check the user. Meaning, they're going to show them a page which says, whatever, the page is loading, this is Cloudflare, click here to prove that you're a human, right? It'll do something like that, like a bot check or something like that, which is one of many things they do. That's another thing that they do. And so CDN is helping my website become quicker. It's helping it become more secure because now it's also filtering out all the bots and all this sort of thing. That's already two services. They have a third one which we're going to explore in the context of the live streams here, which is called a bucket. So now remember that, I have my server here, and Cloudflare caches my server and it downloads all that information and stores it here, and then the user in France is basically mostly being shown info that comes from this server locally. Well, guess what? I don't have to upload my images and my videos here. I can just upload them directly to Cloudflare and then reference them on my server. That'll save even more of my server resources. I'm offloading most of that to Cloudflare, letting them handle it. The cool thing about this bucket thing with Cloudflare is that it's actually free. They give it to you. They do have a limit of, like, I believe how big the bucket has to be, but they don't give you a limit on the bandwidth of that bucket. I believe that's how it works. And for my particular case, and by the way, Cloudflare is not the only company that does this, that offers this service. AWS and Google Cloud also have buckets like this, but their pricing model is different. And Cloudflare, as far as I know, is the only one that will let you do all this stuff for free in a reliable way, right? And so for my specific application, as you guys will see in the coming weeks, this works for me great because I'm not looking to store these images long term, right? Like, once I close a ticket, unless it's something important, I don't really need to save that image. So once I mark, for example, one of these tickets is closed, I could send a command to Cloudflare to delete that image remotely. I could just delete the whole thing. Also, if I'm linking files between apps, once the file has been pushed from one app to the other, I don't need to keep a copy of it in Cloudflare. The only reason I have it in Cloudflare is that I can be the bridge between one app and the other, between the two APIs. So this is something that I'm looking into in the moment. But that's sort of the gist of this Cloudflare thing here. And I think it's called a Cloudflare. Let me look up it's called a Cloudflare bucket. Yeah, it's called an R2 bucket. Here. So it's an object storage for all your data. right? So we can store large amounts of unstructured data without the costly egress bandwidth fees. So again, it gives us free bandwidth. I think they only charge you if you want to keep that data in there, and now you start to have like this, you know, think of it as like a, you know, like a hard drive. Like you, once you have, I think the first terabyte is free, and then afterwards they want to charge you. Let me see here. So yeah, you see this. So the standard storage. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? They give you free 10 gigabytes a month. 1 million requests a month, 10 million requests a month. I don't know exactly what the difference between Class A operations and Class B operations are. We will find out once we get into this and we start developing this. But that's the point here, right? So we're hoping to get the free storage. I think that we want, you know, especially at the beginning, we want, this will be total overkill. So this is great also to just test our app till we have a decent amount of users, and then if we really need to get into one of their paid programs, we will, because you know that's the whole point of them doing business. And they're really helping us, you know, get started without having to pay. So that's great. So again, I have to figure out how this API works, how to actually connect this, and I also want to find out if we're actually able to just directly link to this directly here from the class. Like I'm really wondering if I could just put into here all of my Cloudflare functionality, my keys, everything into this class. So whenever I create a new object, I don't have to worry about it. It'll automatically upload it to Cloudflare without me having to write additional code or having to even check about it. All I got to do is just run this one function, which I can just call it media upload. And I know for sure that whenever I hit media upload, I will make a function like that. It will just go ahead and upload the file and create a new object and save it to the database and do everything. So that's one thing in and of itself. After I have my like my media upload models, I also need my support model. So here I only have this one class, this one table here in my database called support request, and then it's very simple. I mean, I just have a couple status choices that I as a developer can mark, and then the users can see where their request is holding. Active, again, I could run logic based off of whether it's active or not. The user, I'm just importing again that teleport user and passing that object as the user field here. The timestamp is something that the Django assigns automatically, and this is something we have to set up in the Django settings. And then name, email, phone, screenshot. I'm actually importing that foreign media upload object into the screenshot. So this object becomes an object, right? Or this here becomes an object, which is foreign keyed into the screenshot area here. And problem times description, that's just user input. So that's it. The thing with these databases or these changes to our models is that we have to merge them into our database. So let's go ahead and do that. I have to do Python of manage.py, and then here I just have to type in make migrations and hope for the best. Sometimes this gives me a ton of errors, but you'll see here that I created my model media upload. I created my model support request, and I actually deleted another model, but that's irrelevant for now. I just commented out before because I'm not trying to, I don't like coding multiple parts of the project at the same time. I like to do one thing at a time. So because I'm doing that later, I took it out. So Python manage.py migrate. Okay. And okay. So we're looking good here. We have models that we can use now, and I will keep these to the side. I will be referencing them again. Then I have my views of support here. So now this is where things start to get interesting, and basically what we're going to be working on today. So I have my back end logic here. I have my HTML of contact here. So this is my front end logic, and then I have my front end here, right? So right now it's not working. And in the front end, we need a couple things. So the first thing is we need a way to store all that user input. And I match this one-to-one with my, hold on, I've actually matched this one-to-one with my database. So I have models of Pi support, and I have, yeah, okay. So I have context image support, models by support. Yeah, so here I'm gonna go from the bottom. So I have my description, I have problem type, set description, set problem type, I have my screenshot, set screenshot. I have to figure out exactly how to save a file here. For now, I'm initiating as an array. Don't know if that's the right way of doing it. And then I have phone, email, name, and then that's it, I think. Meaning that's all the data I need to keep locally in the front end. I also have these times. The timestamp is something the server does on its own. The user, I can do that with the server alone. Active is the server again. The status is also the server. So everything else is complete here. So that I've matched all of these to my server, and now I want to match all of these to my actual React component. So here I have this new post form. I'm going to rename this to new new support form, which takes in props. Which props, I'm not sure, but it's taking them in there. And then I'm displaying that down here, support form. Okay. I want to delete basically all this stuff here. I want to pass this for now. Actually, I'm just going to console log of data. Let's just do this for now. Right, we will, so the handle submit, we will do that later. And I'm going to just go ahead and copy paste a lot of these. Now, I do want to factor this code out. I'm just writing it out like this for now, but I probably will be factoring it out to just one array here. As you can see, these are all, there's a lot of repetition here. And whenever you have a lot of repetition, the course really teaches you to, this is a great place to optimize. But for now, I just want to get this to work. I'm not trying to get it perfect on the first go. I have my description. I have my problem type. So I'm going just from the bottom. It doesn't really make a difference. So again, let's see, description change, set description. So this is good. Okay. And then I have my problem type. So that would be set problem type. That would go here. That would be here. Set problem type. Event at target value, that's fine. And handle. I would just call that problem type change. Right, so we have, and my problem type has this set problem type. I put it in the wrong place. It's here. So yeah, we have set description, handle description change, set problem type, handle problem type change. I know this is a mouthful. Set screenshot. I'll call it handle screenshot change. That's my set screenshot. I keep going a bit. After the screenshot, I'm doing it from the bottom up. We got the phone here, so that'll be set phone. And we can just call this handle phone change. Handle phone change, set phone, handle screenshot change. Okay, so I'm just, again, when you have this amount of repetition, this is all something you probably factor in one function. Handle phone change, okay, and then we have the email, so that's the next. Email, set email. Right, so my set email and then handle email change. And then the last one is the name. So all these are storing whatever data is going to be on my form locally, and then each of these functions here is handling the change. I mean, it's just updating the value of that variable as the user types in, and then displaying it. That's what the code down here is. We have value here as description, so it's just displaying the value that's inside of that function. Okay. And then one last thing that I want to do is just to go ahead and make a new dictionary, which is this dictionary is what I'm going to be sending to the server once all the information is ready to go. So that's what this data dictionary is here. And I'm just going to rename all these fields because I'm just copy pasting this from somewhere else. Email. Okay. We have phone. Then we have screenshot. So right now the screenshot here, I am sending that to my server. It could be that I don't even have to send it to my server. It could be that directly from here, I will call the Cloudflare API and upload the file that way. So now that we've sort of fixed up all the way we're going to be storing this data, now I want to match it to my form, and now the form should actually start working. I'm not really sure. Let's try again. Make my let me see here, run the server. It might not work. We'll see, I guess, in a second. So it's not working yet. Let's just match all of our variables here to that. So this handle submit is what we're gonna use whenever we submit. So that's in here already, handle submit. I'm gonna take this 4 out. Not really sure what I need that for. And then on change, this is gonna be my name. So my name is being handled by handle name change. Yeah, so this is the function I want to run there. So that's my handle name change. That's here. On change, handle name change, and then value is going to be name, right? That's what I'm storing in here. Again, that's just whenever someone is typing in, the function will pass those inputs to the variable, and then my variable is going to be displayed all in real time. So it's like a two-way thing. So we have the value is name, and then we have name. Fine. And then the input. So this is the problem. Okay, fine. So my label actually is not what I need to have these two. Right? My input is actually what needs to have that. Like that, okay? Let's keep going. Then we have the email address. So again, my email is being stored in here. And so my value for this email address will be my email. And whenever I change it, I need to pass this handle email change. Again, this is probably another place I could just do probably like a for loop for all of this stuff and just dynamically display all this. Maybe we'll refactor all this stuff afterwards. I just want to write it out in like the easy way, and then we can go ahead and clean it up. So we're passing this handle email change. We're also passing the value. Now these, again, they should be at the bottom here, in the actual input tag. That's my on change, and then my value. That's it. And we'll delete them from up here. We shall delete this also, on change. We'll get this ID out of here. I'm not really sure why I need an ID here of new post field. Guess we'll figure it out. We'll get this ID out of here as well. So we have the label, class form label, okay. Input, the input has the on change, has the value, has the class name, and we out of there. And the same for my label here. So again, my label has to be cleaned up. I have this max length here. I believe this is for the input. So again, my label just has that email address up there in a form label class, and then my input has onChange, has a value, has an array described, which we'll see what that means in a second, and we have this max length here. And we're done with that one. Yeah. Okay, moving on. Then we have, we'll take this out of here. We have just the class of form label, the phone number, and then down here we need to have an on change and a value. And for the phone number, it's going to be handle phone change. And I think the name of that one is phone. Yeah, the name of that variable. So we'll have handle phone change, and the value is going to be phone. Just like that. Our screenshot is going to be that. And then also we need to have an on change and a value. The screenshot is going to be over. Yeah, it'll give us what type it is. And We need to pass handle screenshot change. And also screenshot. Okay, and we're almost done here. So we have right, my screenshot here. We have all that, and then the type of problem is this. We have a type of problem. I guess we only have to add our on change. So our problem type change is this one. And whatever that target value is, that's what we're going to put in. So that'll be right here. From our select, we're going to do here on change is equal to this handle problem change. For the problem description, we need to pass it again, the on change and the value to the input. So here we have the input. So we have the on change. So it would be handle description change and description, right? I think that's what it was. Handle description change and description. So I think let's reload this. Inspect. Why is it not running? Okay, so it seems like we might have, we're missing a couple brackets here maybe. I think that might be it. Let me see. We have the return. Nothing was returned. Nothing was returned here. New support form. Yeah, I think this is what I had in mind before. That perhaps we did not need that. And that all of this should have just been one here. And take that out. I think that's what we're looking for. Right, so we have the support form, which takes in props, and we'll see what those props should be. Or maybe it shouldn't take any props. I didn't see any props being used here. That's just my support form. And then it just goes ahead and returns, right? So we have all this logic here. And then it just returns. Let's see. Title is not defined. Which title is not defined? We're definitely getting closer here. Title. Oh, here, disable if there's no title or description. Got it. So let's take out this disabled stuff for now. This is good news. It means it's making, the code is basically running okay all the way up to down here, which is at the end already. It's great. So let's just say no title, or let's just say no description. There's no description. So no title would be like no phone. Let's say no phone. Let's try that again. And it's working great. Okay. So this is more or less what we're looking for. As you can see here, as I'm typing it, you know, the data is in there. So again, all this data is not just that we can see it on screen, it's that it's actually all these different fields. It's all being shown, it's all being stored in these different constants here. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just fix up the last part here, which is the suggest feature. I just gotta remove that last button. For some reason I have two buttons there. I don't know why. Ah, got it. Okay, so it would be just open support ticket instead of suggest feature, right? And then that's my input here. And then my BTN outline danger, that's what it should be. And I guess I could take out this button out. Let's reload. Yeah, so that's how we want it. And you see right now I can't click on it, but if I type in my phone number and I add a description here, so now I have access to that. And again, my design language here is really one of, on the one hand, make it very obvious how they can get help, and also make it very obvious I don't want them to contact me, right? So I'm making this button. You see the language here. It's I rather them go back to the tutorial than contact me. Now I am still making it very easy for them to know how to contact me, right? It's like this weird balance of things. So on the one hand, you want to give good service, but you also want to cover yourself from a ton of random tickets which could have been resolved with just the user watching a video. If we go back there, you see everything is still working here. We have all of our different tutorials. And these are just placeholders. I will be filming new videos for all this. Fine. And then request support takes them to here, and they can request support. This is all responsive, by the way, right? It all looks great, whether it's on a small screen, a medium screen, large screen. So that's good stuff. What I want to do next, I think I want to tackle next all my Cloudflare stuff. So I don't think that, you know what, for now I think we'll just go ahead and submit this real quick. Just noticing a quick improvement here is that my screenshot and my support request is actually optional. So I can type in here, I could add here blank equals true, and I should do that. Not everybody's gonna have a screenshot, right? So that my blank equals true. I believe now what I need to do is update my database. So I have to make new migrations, and you'll see here that it'll tell us that we altered a field in the screenshot support request, whatever. So in this area we updated it, and I need to migrate that now, and we are good. I believe it says okay, and we want to go ahead and run the server, so that's fine. Let's go ahead and hello test one, testing at gmail.com. My phone number is something along these lines. And the type of problem is that there's a bug there. I'm not able to sync files. Open support ticket. And that's great. It looks like it didn't do anything, right? That's really what it looks like. But if you take a look at our server log, you'll see that we did submit all of this stuff as a GET request and whatnot. And if we go into our console here, inspect console test 2, there's a couple of things to fix here. This should not be a GET request, it should be a POST request. All right, just make something up here. Payment failed, can't pay, and open support ticket. So yeah, I'm submitting something that I don't know. It's very weird here. So let's go back, I guess, to our support HTML here. And take a look at the submit button. That's the first place to look. This is a type of submit. And up here in my form, I'm just using handle submit. I want to prevent the default. I feel like that's the first thing I want to run into here. So I'm gonna go to my index of I think it was my index of feedback, and I want to do this e.prevent default before I even do anything. So it's here. Let's see if that's the issue. So test2@gmail. And we still need some code here to validate that this is actually a valid email address, and you can use libraries for that to make sure that that email is actually valid. Here. And no, so we're still submitting a GET request for some reason. So I'm not really sure why that is. So the first thing that comes to mind is that form up there. So let me just go back here on this code a little bit. And then I have my button here, right? Right, so my button, I'm going to be using the button instead of that other thing. I'm going to get rid of this input. So maybe it's like two different things. That's why I'm like, maybe this input here is more, this button is more appropriate with a form. I'm not sure that I was using a form in the other page. Let me see if this loads at least. Yeah, so it's loading. Let's open our console and let's reload. So yeah, we have a clean console. Let's just try it again. Test whatever, test of Gmail, a random phone number, request a feature, hello. She just wants to say hello. Open support ticket. Now that did send in a GET request again, which is weird. Maybe that's just the default of what all this stuff does. And I guess it doesn't really matter if you use one of these buttons. It doesn't really matter if you're using a button or a submit down here, whatever it was that we had there. It looks like it doesn't make a difference. Either way, it's not working. And then our on submit, handle submit. So now I'm starting to question if this is the correct place to put this handle submit, and if at all, and if it is even accepting it. Handle form submit. Let's see. All right, so now it's working for some reason. I think it could be because I added this prevent default event over here. Let me try that again. Let's see again. So, but it is loading. As you can see here, I have my object. My screenshot is still empty. I do believe, you know what, now I'm really thinking about this. I do believe that the file will never actually go into my server. I think directly from here, I will add the logic in this JavaScript here. I will add the logic to authenticate into Cloudflare, upload that file. If that works out, and if you know if that is successful, what I'm gonna spit back down and incorporate into then a JSON which I send to my server is just the URL. In which case, I wouldn't need this model. And I feel like that's the safest way, because then the file never even made it through my website, through my server. And that's sort of like defensive web design. That's how you want to build things, right? So here, my screenshot, I would just have here a I wouldn't have here a foreign key. I would just have my URL in here. So maybe that's the way of doing it. Maybe I'll change it right now, because I really think that's the way to go. So here my models, here models of support, and then where's my models of teleport app? Yeah, so I have my models up here, and we have my file URL. So that's what we're looking for. So the screenshot is a screenshot URL. Okay, models.url field. And I will update this. So we have to do Python of make migrations and then Python of migrate. And it's better to do all these things before you actually have data in your tables, because otherwise it really becomes a mess. Then run server. That's fine. Okay, and I want to clear out my like all of my fields. And I think in order to clear all my fields, if I did them using each separate one of these functions, what would happen is that my page will actually, I think it will reload, or something's going to be happening between my page and the server all the times that I call that, instead of just calling it once. So I think that for that, we're going to have to refactor basically all of these functions here. And that's what we're going to be doing in the next live stream. Thank you for joining this one. I'm wishing you a good weekend. I'm wishing you just to continue learning, continue growing, just keep coding. Send me any questions that you have. And in the meantime, we'll see you in the next coding session.